Okay, so today is May 30th, 2023, and we are doing a new lab to the class, which is Lab 0203. You might have observed that we skipped 0202. We're going to circle back to that 0202. We're going to work on that tomorrow. And so this week, we're looking at two labs so far, which is 0203 and 0202. The reason I jumped ahead to 0203, again, it's a new lab and it's just more practicing with, working with data in Mongo and such a bunch of queries that I think there were 30 different queries that we wrote to do CRUD operations with data, some easier than others. And I've got Grant who's going to kind of go through his answers of what he did to solve them. And not to speak for Grant, but again, some of these were easier than others. And he definitely we worked together to get through some of them, and I had to kind of provide some resources on the document itself with some help. Anyways, Grant, number one, if you don't mind maybe taking over a little bit.
Yeah, number one was pretty similar to the things that we were doing in 0201. It was adding a new movie to the movies collection, so using db.movies.insert1, and then I was just following along with the standards in the rest of the database. So the title is a string, the year is not in a string, it's just the number. Things like the directors being in an array as well as the actors.
Cool.
And that was able to work.
And I know you were saying that we'll execute some of these. You might already have that in there, but you could see acknowledge to true. If you're doing this at home, you're doing this lab as a student, again, just like last week, I would recommend doing this DIY, right? Do it yourself and reference this video if you get stuck, okay? Because, obviously that's how you're going to learn, is by trying and making your own mistakes, not just kind of following along someone else's work. So definitely, DIY, do it yourself, and then if you get stuck, refer to this video. Number two.
Okay, next is it was retrieving the first 5 movies and sorting them based on the movie title. So that would be using db.movies.find with empty parens, so you're finding all. And then sorting title is going to be 1 to sort it, and then limiting it to the first 5 entries.
Yep, looks good. Yep, that is correct. And number 3.
Number 3 was a short update. Update 1 title from Lion King to Lion King 1994. And to do that, you just have to first find it, and then in my case, I use the title using the $EQ. And then after that, you use $set in order to replace the title with the new one.
Now I'm assuming you already did that one, so I assume it's not going to work a second time because you've already updated it once, yeah?
Yeah, and then we delete it, so I don't think this one's going to work.
Yeah. But go ahead and throw that into the command prompt and let it error out. Again, you deleted it, so go ahead and run that. And you could see the modified count is 0, so that command didn't work because of all the reasons that we stated. But it did work the first time.
Yes.
Delete the movie 1994 from the collection. Number 4.
So this one is pretty similar to even just it's like the first half of the update one, except you're using delete one and just using any part of the document to find the correct one. In this case, I just used the new title that I set in the last problem.
Okay. And throw that in there and let it error out. Good deal. Number 5, create a new user in the users collection with the following details.
So this one is pretty similar to a lot of the ones that we were doing last week with an insert one and just name, email, and password as the all in strings as the problem stated.
Okay, and can you run that query? And we created an index which doesn't allow for duplicate emails, and so you're getting an error because that guy already exists, so not a problem. Um, and so yeah, it created like a unique constraint, and so you can't have two users with the same email. Number 6, retrieve all users from the user collection, including only their names and email addresses, sorted in descending order based on the name.
Yeah, so this one I think was one of the ones that I struggled with a bit. It was first using inside the find uh, parentheses, having that empty object first, and then you, in the second object, you have only what you want to be returned. So that was some syntax that I was a little unfamiliar with at first, and then sorting is pretty similar to what we were doing before, except it's in, I think it's in descending order, so it's a -1.
Yeah, I'll throw while we're talking here. I'll do hint db users find, and then empty object, comma, and then an object for the fields to include, comma 1, something like that. I'll try and throw a little hint on the document, and then cool. So that was number 6. Number 7, update the name of the user with email John Doe to John Smith.
This one is pretty similar to the Lion King question from before, where it's just using an update one, and your first object is to identify which document you're updating, and then the second is using $set to change one of the properties of it.
Okay, and could you throw that in there?
And this one I think was already updated, so it's not modifying it.
Makes sense. Number 8, delete the user with johndoe@example.com from the users collection.
Yep, once again, similar to the Lion King one, you're just using the $EQ to identify which document you're wanting to delete.
I'm assuming you already deleted that fella.
I think I added it back in at one point because a later question
Okay.
wanted to update it, but I can delete it now.
And that looks like that worked. I got your name. It's kind of on my end. It's got your name in front. It says deleted count 1, so we're looking good.
Yes.
Number 9, create a new comment with the following details: a movie ID and a user ID and a text.
So this one was doing insert one within comments and taking a random movie ID and a random user ID, and then setting the text to the text of the lab worksheet.
Okay. And see if that works. And you might have a duplicate comment there, but there's nothing stopping that, so it looks like it worked. Number 10 was a challenging one. Retrieve all comments from the comments collection, including the movie's title. So the movie's title is not in there by default. So how'd you get that in there?
So we had to use the lookup operator, and basically going from movies, and then you use a what's called a local field to set the movie ID, and then also the movie ID I think is within the comments document,
Yep.
and then the foreign field is what it's referred to as in the movies
Yep.
document, and then you do project after that, and that's how you basically return that data.
Yep. And so, when I think of the aggregate function, it's definitely one of the more complicated functions that we're going to work with. We don't work with it super often, but we will on occasion in this class. And so aggregate, as I understand it, is just kind of doing one operation before the next, and so the way it was described to me is kind of like a conveyor belt. Like it's almost like you're assembling a product down the line, down a conveyor belt. And so here we have basically two operations on a conveyor belt. The first operation is a lookup, and the second operation is a project. And so the lookup is kind of your join, if you will. We're going to kind of select out of the movies table, saying, hey, where this local field matches the foreign field. It's very much a join if you've done the relational databases before, and just kind of linking those fields together. And you say as movie, it's kind of creating your alias. It's like, hey, this is my movie, which allows us to project. Now the project is the second step on the conveyor belt. So the lookup is the first step, project is the second. Project is like, these are the fields that I want to work with. The underscore ID, which comes from the comments collection, the text field, which also comes from comments, and the movie.title. Again, that as movie is your alias. So your movie object, movie.title, allows you to do that. So go ahead and run that command. And this was an interesting one because we have a bunch of movies that we deleted, and if you run this command before you delete the movies, you'll actually see that all those movies are actually filled in, those movie titles. Because you were doing this on your computer where you deleted a bunch of movies, and I was doing it on mine, literally the same query, and it wasn't working on yours because you deleted a bunch of movies. Now, just
Right.
to double check, we do have, movie.title, :1. Yeah, we double checked this. So that query should work for you at home if you're doing this for the first time and you haven't deleted the movies.
Yeah, I just worked out of order a little bit
Yep.
and went to one of the future problem.
Right. Actually, one that's coming up here pretty soon. Number 11, update the text of a comment with the ID, comment ID. Number 11.
Yeah, so 11 is similar to like the email update that we did earlier. It's just using comments and then update one, and then you're once again using the $EQ to determine what document you're working with, and then using $set to replace the text with this movie is a masterpiece.
Good deal. And go ahead and run that. And again, you might have deleted this or something along the way.
Yeah, I think it just didn't modify it, or it was one that was deleted. Yeah.
Because let me double check your work while.
Oh, I think the next question is deleting this comment, so mine should be deleted.
Okay, 11 was update, 12 is delete. Go ahead and show the delete. Yep.
So this is a pretty simple delete one command like we've done in the movies and I think also in the users so far, just using $EQ to look up the object that you're deleting.
Okay, and 13, which is retrieve all movies that have the genre comedy.
So this one was just using find, and then within the object within find, you're using genres and comedy. And I learned that is case sensitive because I put it a little bit different the first time.
Go ahead and run that. And if we just verify that it does in fact have comedy, there you go. There you go. And there's multiple ways of writing that query. Yours is pretty simple. I like it better actually than mine because I have an all operator on mine. So just keep it simple sometimes. 14. Update the genre to include drama in addition to the existing to the existing genres.
Yeah, so this one's a little bit different than the other update ones that we've been doing so far because it's not replacing what we're working with, it's including. So this one is using the $push instead of $set in order to not overwrite the existing data.
Nice. And we did something like that on the last one, yeah?
Yes, yeah.
Did you reference that or did you just remember?
I might have referenced it. I think I just remembered it though.
Okay, nice.
It's pretty similar to the set. And it's not letting me paste it yet. And there it is. And I think I've already updated the genres for this one, so it's not modifying it.
Sure. Right. 15. Delete all movies from the movies collection where the year is less than 2000.
So this was using delete many instead of delete one, and then within that you use a couple of objects. So the first is to set what parameters you're using to delete, which in this case is the year, and then within that you're using the $less than in order to set that at the year 2000.
Yep. And I doubt that works because, like you said, that already deleted like 1,000 movies.
Yeah, yeah.
And number 16, retrieve the movies released between 2010 and 2020, sorted in descending order based on the rating.
So for this, it's using um, find, and I ran into one thing here where you have to use both greater than or equal to and less than or equal to. I had those separated at first, and within that first object, or I think I actually had two different objects, and it gave me back basically every movie because it was doing everything that was greater than 2010 and everything that was lower than 2020. Instead of making it inclusive. So you have to do that within one object, and then using the sort command like we did earlier, uh, and then IMDb dot rating within quotes will get you through it. You have to use IMDb dot rating because it's within the IMDb object.
Yeah, everything looks good. It says in descending order based on the movie's rating. So if you change that one to a -1, I think that's the only difference I had.
And in this case, a lot of them aren't coming by with empty, I guess,
Yeah.
with this order.
Yep, but that query looks good. 17, update the year of all movies in 15 to 2016.
So this one is pretty similar to the update ones that we were doing earlier, except it's update many. And so the first object is to find every movie with the year of 2015, and then the second is setting every year to 2016.
Yep, looks good to me. And delete all the movies directed by Christopher Nolan.
So for this one, it's um, pretty similar to, I guess, the delete many for the movies earlier, except that you're just using the equal operator um, under directors to select only Christopher Nolan instead of using the less than for the year.
Okay, looks good. And 19, this one, we got to look at this one a little closely and see that there's we can use regular expressions to kind of do a search for us.
Yeah, so we had to look this up online, and basically putting admin and slashes after email is going to search through and see just any combination of those characters in a row. And so first I think we added an email with the address, yeah, admin at email or admin at example.com, because at first this query wasn't returning anything, and then it was able to
Go ahead and
find
hit
that.
that then. Now I think we have to add a user back in. I'm not sure if we deleted that user. DB users, insert one. Just say email : There we go. There we go. Now hit the up arrow for me, and just to show that this is a regular expression, after that email : put a curly after that colon, and then do $regex : and then you'll add another curly at the end. And that is kind of hit enter. And so you can see those two queries are doing the same thing. So there's an implied regex that we're doing here. And I just show you that because, if you learn regular expressions and how to filter, based on regular expressions, you can write those there. And we'll do that again here in a little bit. That regular expression. Number 20, update the password of a user.
So this is updating the user that we added, and I think deleted earlier, so I had to add it back in. And it's just using the set operator again to set the password to new password.
Okay, looks good. Uh, 21, delete all comments made by the user with the email.
So this one, the email is already in the comments document, so it was pretty simple to just do a delete many and uh, delete any comments with the email that would equal to johndoe@example.com.
Okay, 22. Create an index, and I gave a little example on the lab. Create an index on the title field, right? So that you can search by title faster.
So yeah, this one is just using create index instead of something like find or delete one. And because we're using title, you just have title and then one.
Okay. Yep. And so when do you create indexes? You create an index if, you're providing a search interface by search by title, for example. So your user interface has a search bar, and that search bar is searching by title. Maybe it's song title or whatever it may be. So if it's Spotify and you're allowing user to search by song title, users are going to be searching by title a lot. So this is going to help those title queries be looked up faster. And you can kind of see it is successful when you get the feedback of title_1. We'll work more with indexes. 23, retrieve all movies that start with the capital letter A.
So this one is, at first, it's pretty similar to the what we did with the regular expression with the email. This is again the shorthand version of it. What I had originally was title colon slash a slash, and that returned all titles with a capital A anywhere within the title, and that caret in front of the A makes it so that it's only looking at the first letter.
So that it begins with the capital A, yeah. And there you go, a brilliant young mind in the title, a brave heart, bingo. 24.
So this one was an update many for the genres, equaling action, and setting that equaling to adventure.
Bingo, looks good. 25, update a user with the last login property. This one was, I tried to give some help, but you're probably everyone needs help with this one because it's a challenge. So let's go ahead and add a user with a last login of like back in 1995. There you go. Email one, duplicate key, email null. So yeah, you probably have to throw in an email in there. I'm gonna pause here. We'll insert this one real quick.
I missed the paren.
Wait, didn't that last one work, Grant? So it says acknowledge true, inserted. So you should be in there.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So yeah, so if you're looking on the screen where my cursor is, db.users.insert1 grant. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, interesting. Go ahead and clear your screen. DB users find name grant. DB users. Okay, hit the up arrow. I'll pause it again. Okay, we're live. So step one, we had to get a user put in with an old, um, hasn't logged in since 1995. And so where my mouse is, you can kind of see DB users, insert grant, email, and last login. Now, he did have an index on email ones. I think there might be a different user, maybe just as user of grant with that email address. I'm not sure. But sure enough, Grant Escher is in there, grantd@example.com. So that was the user. So now the next step is, Grant, I'll let you kind of take over. You actually get multiple JavaScript statements in one.
Yeah, so this is where we started using some JavaScript, first establishing a constant of 6 months ago as a new date. And then we set 6 months ago to the current date minus 6 months within this section of it.
Yep.
And then use delete many if the last login was less than 6 months ago. And that deletes the one user.
Yeah, working with dates is hard, but you got that right. 26. 26, retrieve the average rating for all the movies.
So this one was really tough too. It was using aggregate, and first it was you needed to establish a group within an array, or group within an object within the array for aggregate. Then we didn't need the ID, so the ID was null. And then the average rating was using the average function on $imdb.rating.
Which $sign is going to be the value of the rating.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we're grouping. Basically, you don't need the IDs. It's a requirement of the group function. You need the ID, so you have to include that in there. But it's not necessary for us, so we just say null. Then we create a property called average rating, running the average function on the rating. If you hit that, that's how we're going to pull out the average rating of 6.56, so on and so forth. I will say that several of these are a little bit more complex than, since this is a newer lab, I made some of them harder than necessary. But that's okay. You can still learn from them. 27, update the rating of the movie with the movie ID to 45.
This one was refreshingly simple, and pretty much similar to what we were doing at the beginning of the assignment. I selected a random movie ID, and that's the first object, and then the second is setting that to imdb.rating to get down into the imdb object of 4.5.
Bingo. 28 says insert a comment with the word spoiler in the text, and then delete all the comments with the word spoiler in the text.
So I don't have my insert comment up right here, but
That's okay. You can just do the delete.
so the delete many was it's also using the regular expression. This is again the shorthand, similar to like finding movies with the title starting with A, except that it was searching, or it was really similar to the email with admin in it.
Yeah.
Finding whatever has the word spoiler and deleting it.
Very nice. 29. Retrieve the count of the movies for each genre in the movies collection. Again, another hard one. So using the aggregate function along with an unwind, which would encourage you to look up the unwind. But if you have an array with 3 entries, it'll give you that same result of that movie. Let's just say you have a movie that's action and comedy. It'll give you the full result of the movie with action, and it'll give you the full result of the movie again with comedy as the genre. So go ahead with that. And so it kind of unwinds or unpacks all the genres first, and then groups them together and counts them. And again, I kind of would encourage you to look up the unwind operator there on the MongoDB docs. But that gets that job done. 30, update the title of all movies to uppercase.
So this one is an update menu, and then you're using to upper on I guess it's the value of the title here, which is just JavaScript, and that is setting the title to the to upper of the value of the title, basically.
Yep, and the first argument of update menu is an empty object, so you're doing it to all the movies. There you go. Thank you for your demonstration, Grant.
Thank you. No problem.
And let's see, where's our titles? They're all caps now. There it is, Chicken Run. All right. Good job today, sir.
Thank you.
Yep.